What is up, guys? Welcome to part 3 of my Saviors of Uldum set review. Today we're going to go over all the class cards I've yet to look at, and then tomorrow we're going to look at all the neutral cards I've yet to give a rating. So starting off with Druid here, we have a Nubasath Defender, 5 mana, 3/5 taunt. Cost 0 if you cast a spell that costs 5 or more this turn. So that's basically how you're going to be playing at all times. And because this is just a better Arcane Tyrant, right? I believe 3/5 better with taunt, better than a 4/4 in general. And because that saw quite a bit of play with cards like Nourish and Ultimate Infestation, this will follow suit as well and see play. Nourish did get nerfed, and UI has rotated out, but there's a new UI replacement, which in a lot of ways is even better. So we'll take a look at that right now. Overflow, 7 mana, restore 5 health to all characters. Interesting line there, because it's going to restore health to your opponents, you, and all minions on the board. So if they have something like Northshire click on them, you can make them go full Northshire possibly. Interesting. You're also going to, well, drop 5 cards yourself, which is the important thing here. So because this synergizes so well with a Nubasath Defender, because it's going to combo with a card we're going to look at next, it is definitely going to see play. The card it's going to see play with is Garden Gnome, 4 mana, 2/3, so that's not good. But if you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, you're going to summon 2 2/2 Treants. So you get a ton of stats on turn 4, and all you need to do is have a spell over 5 mana. So these first 3 cards we looked at in Druid all kind of go together. You just jam them in the same deck, and, well, good things are probably going to happen, right? If you don't have a Nubasath Defender, you have 7 mana, well, you can draw 5 cards, draw 2 Nubasath Defenders, play them for 0. That seems pretty good. You gain some health, heal your board maybe. You do heal your opponent's board, so watch out for that. And then anytime you have a Garden Gnome on turn 4 with a spell in your hand, well, that's a huge amount of tempo right into play. So definitely 3 Druid cards that are pushed, and we'll definitely see tons of play. Speaking of pushed cards, we have the big payoff for the Druid Quest Untapped Potential here. Oasis Surger, 5 mana, 3/3 Elemental with Rush, but you have to choose one, give it +2/+2, or summon a copy of this minion. So generally, you're going to do this when your quest is complete, and it's pretty insane because you get 2 5/5 Elementals with Rush for just 5 mana. We were talking about the quest, and why would you want to complete the quest on curve? We were looking at Tending Tarn as the big payoff, but this one definitely wants you to get that quest done as soon as possible to, gain back the tempo you lost by not spending all your mana. We saw on stream, Globinous Floop combos very well with this because you get 2 5/6 minions with Rush as well. So those 2 cards will definitely see play back-to-back a lot in the new Quest Druid. So we were wondering what the payoff was going to be. This is a pretty big payoff. Crystal Merchant is a 2 mana 1/4. If you have any unspent mana at the end of your turn, draw a card. So much like the quest, this wants you to, well, not be efficient with your mana, and you get rewarded with a card every time. Very cool take on the new Acolyte of Pain here. If you play this on turn 3 like you would an Acolyte of Pain, you would draw a card immediately. They might deal with it, they might not, and then in which case you could continue to draw cards without having to damage your minion like an Acolyte. So pretty strong card here. I think because Acolyte sees play, and this is more flexible than Acolyte, right? You can play this on turn 2, and on turn 3, you can start drawing cards with it. Maybe you just hero power, or maybe you play the second one, and then you draw 2 cards, right? That might happen quite often. So very cool card here. I definitely think this will see play somewhere because it is similar enough to Acolyte of Pain to see play, I think. Worthy Expedition is the last card we're going to look at in Druid. It's 1 mana, discover a choose 1 card, and most of the time, well, you're just going to try to get extra copies of Oasis Surger, or maybe something like Tending Tarn. Maybe in the very late game, you're going to grab this scenario. So definitely sees play in the quest deck because it's a cheap way to get your big payoffs. Unleash the Vault, Hunter Quest. Summon 20 minions. Your reward, Ramkahen Roar, which will give your minions +2 attack for 2 mana. Obviously a very strong combo with Unleash the Hounds, both once the quest is complete, because the Hounds can go face, and, well, to activate the quest itself, because it's summon, not play, and so if you summon, 7 Hounds, it's going to count 7 times toward your quest. We are getting support for this card here coming up. And this kind of almost fits in just a regular Mech Hunter deck because of cards like Mecharoo, cards like Snip Snap, cards like Explodinator, cards like the Bomb guy, the Bomb Master guy. So yeah, this will definitely finish in a Mech Hunter deck. Do they need it? Maybe, maybe not. The scary thing is if it's good in the Mech Hunter deck, because Mech Hunter deck is one of the strongest cards in Standard right now. So yeah, so it should be interesting to see what people do with this. If it's good enough to go in a Mech Hunter deck, if you play both mechs and beasts, or you just go all in on the beasts. With the beast version, as we saw on the stream, Unleash the Hounds is really the payoff because the Hounds go face. not just rush. You want to try to save one of those Unleash the Hounds and Revenge of the Wilds for after the quest is done. But pretty cool card here. Very interested to see if it's just going to slot into Mech Hunter somehow. That is pretty scary. Swarm of Locusts, 6-mana Hunter spell. Summon 7 1/1 Locusts with Rush. So here you go. To complete your Unleash the Vault, this definitely fits into that deck. And if you save it when you have Revenge of the Wild for 8 mana, you can, well, possibly summon 14 little 1/1s all at once, right? So the upside in this is pretty big with the quest for sure. Pretty negative synergy with Zul'jin. If you cast this during a Zul'jin game, your Zul'jin might play this first and, you know, stop you from getting extra value from cards like Unleash the Beast and cards like Animal Companion. So it's possible this does not see play in any deck playing Zul'jin, only in the quest deck, in which it would fit pretty well. Hyena Alpha, 4 mana 3/3 Battlecry. If you control a secret, summon 2/2 Hyena. So a card that's terrible if you don't have a secret, and a card that's pretty insane once you do. Rat Trap stock definitely went up there because, well, no one's going to activate a Rat Trap on turn 4. So yeah, so Rat Trap into this guy might be a common play now in Hunter. And this is very strong. It reminds me of Spellstone, right? It comes a turn early. Spellstone had to get nerfed. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets nerfed at some point as well. Ramkahen Wild Tamer, 3 mana 4/3 Battlecry. Copy a random beast in your hand. So what do we do with this guy? Well, we could, well, copy the beast we just looked at, Hyena Alpha. It even curves 3 into 4 here, and your opponent might be staring down a ton of beasts if they don't activate your secret. Again, the stock on Rat Trap is definitely going through the roof. What else can you copy with this? Well, maybe a bunch of 6-mana beasts, whether it's Highmane or 2 of the new ones, Wild Bloodstinger and Scarlet Webweaver. These all go together because the Webweaver reduces the cost of a beast in your hand by 5. So you can play a 6-mana beast on 6, and then on turn 7, very possible to play a 1-mana beast that would have cost 6 and another 6-cost beast, right? So the big beast deck is looking for this guy as well. This is, maybe you just play this to, again, have more chances to get more copies of Hyena Alpha. Desert Spear is a 1-attack, 3 durability weapon. After your hero attacks, you summon a 1/1 Locust with Rush. So interesting card here. Obviously synergizes with the quest, although not that well with the quest, right? You do get 3 minions for your total. You do get to do 2 damage split among 1 to 2 targets, but you have to pay attention to stuff like Taunt. This could be really good with Reborn cards running around, right? So Reborn cards are pesky. You do not want to let them get extra value, so this would definitely help in a meta with Reborn. One of those cards, it's kind of hard to evaluate. You got to imagine, though, it's better than it looks because the ability to do 1 damage to different targets can be useful in any number of situations. Naga Sandwich, funny name there. 5 mana 5/5 Battlecry. Change the cost of spells in your hand to 5. So what are you doing with this? Well, a couple things. Power of Creation would be a threatening one. If you play this and it survives, you threaten the Khadgar into Power of Creation Wombo combo a turn or 2 early. This also obviously combos with, well, Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, as many of the cards do in the new set here. The Pilgrim comes to mind, right? So if you play this, it somehow gets ignored. You can threaten a Puzzle Box a few turns early. Dune Sculptor, 3 mana 3/3 mage minion. After you cast a spell at a random mage minion to your hand, the value is real, and the stock on Ray of Frost continues to rise here. This one's not as an egregious a value machine as Underbelly Angler, which kind of fueled itself by itself, right? You play a Murloc, you get a Murloc, you play that Murloc, you get another Murloc, where this one, you continue to have spells to keep going off, and it's maybe the most broken fair card, because at the end of the day, it is just a 3 mana 3/3. Every spell you play does not generate extra tempo, but at the same time, there'll be times where your opponent gets a bunch of Sorcerer's Apprentices all of a sudden. They get, Antonidas to win the game. They get Kalikos to win the game. So, yeah, very strong card, and I can't imagine a world where this does not see play somewhere. It is a little bit at odds with Mana Cyclone, and it's possible Mana Cyclone's better, but maybe you have a huge Mana Cyclone turn and then play this afterwards to, generate even more value. Flame Ward is the new mage secret. It says after a minion attacks your hero, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. A little bit different than Explosive Trap. It's after the minion attack. So if the minion had 3 health, it does survive, hit you, and then die afterwards. Very strong card. A lot of reasons to be secrets in mage coming up, and this will definitely see play. Ancient Mysteries, 2 mana mage spell. Draw a secret from your deck. It costs 0. Whoa, a lot of things going on here. New take on a mad scientist type card, archaeologist type card, in a lot of ways better than both somehow. which is kind of crazy. I thought originally Blizzard was pushing the secret archetype of mage to get mages away from Mana Cyclone, but this thing just works really well with Mana Cyclone, right? Because it costs 2 mana, costs 1 mana with a Sorcerer's Apprentice out. The secret costs 0, so you go Sorcerer's Apprentice, Ancient Mysteries, Secret, Cyclone, and you go off, right? So instead of them, making us decide between playing Mana Cyclone or playing a bunch of secrets, here we got our Cake and Eat It 2. This also has synergies randomly with cards like Antonidas. So yeah, very strong card here, and we'll definitely see play. Micro Mummy, 2 mana, 1/2 mech with Reborn. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 attack. So kind of like a Master Swordsmith here, but instead it's a mech, and it has, well, Death Rattle, summon another one. Interesting, I guess. Definitely sees play in the Making Mummies deck because it's cheap. I think with the Making Mummies deck, you're just going to want to play the sort of cheap Reborn cards because less can go wrong, right? The more you play higher costed Reborn cards, the more that can go wrong because they come back with 1 health, where when they already, have 2 health to begin with, coming back with 1 health isn't much of a big deal. So definitely sees play in the Making Mummies deck. On its own, it's probably better than it looks, but it's still not that impressive of a card. Pharaoh's Blessing, 6 mana. Give a minion +4/+4, Divine Shield and Taunt. So we have a big buff here in Paladin at 6 mana. This is not as good as Spikeridge Steed was, obviously, because the Steed would give you 12 health worth of defense. This one is more aggressive, however. It's like a souped-up Blessing of Kings. So you can go face for more damage, trade into a bigger minion more easily than Spikeridge Steed would. Although not as good as Spikeridge Steed. This might be a nice combo with the Spirit of the Tiger. One of the problems with Tiger was, well, Kings was one of the better things to do with a Spirit of the Tiger, and because you're playing a 4 into a 4, unless you coined it out, it was a little bit awkward, whereas this might curve a little bit better with that card exactly. So yeah, not the most amazing card here. Obviously, it's no Spikeridge Steed. Ancestral Guardian, 4 mana, 4/2 with Lifesteal and Reborn. So this one's a little bit weird because it's a pretty terrible 4-drop on turn 4. But later in the game, this represents 8 or more health for just 4 mana, and your opponent has to find ways to deal with it, right? You can definitely get punished if you're not gaining health from this card, so watch out for that. Subdue is the last Paladin card we're going to look at. It's a 2-mana spell. Set a minion's attack and health to 1. Very strong Subdue card here, no doubt. And it's combining equality and, well, humility into 1 card. A little bit annoying this exists in Standard at the same time as Shrink Ray. It's going to be hard to do anything fun against a Paladin deck if they, well, turn all your big buff minions down to 1 health. So, pretty cool card. Definitely a card that Paladin might have needed at some point, but with Shrink Ray already in Standard, maybe not right now, right? But it is a strong card. Activate the Obelisk is the Priest quest. It says restore 15 health for your reward, the Obelisk's Eye, which will restore 3 health instead of 2 on your hero power, and you also get, if you target a minion, it also gives it +3/+3. That's a little nifty there if you have a Shadow Word Death on your opponent's minion as well. So restoring 15 health, notably this is just health anywhere, so even if you were to restore your opponent's or your opponent's minions, this would count toward that total, meaning something like Circle of Healing might activate this very quickly. This is interesting because it's a very strong ability for something like a Zoo Priest deck. Although, they don't really want to miss turn 1, right? Turn 1 is your Northshire Cleric. Turn 2 is your extra arms kind of a play. So giving up on that turn 1 minion might be a little bit annoying for a Zoo-style Priest, but this is exactly the type of hero power they would want in that kind of deck, right? Turning those maybe irrelevant minions later into bigger threats. Is this powerful enough to see play in control-style Priest decks as well? Maybe. And Wild, it gets a little bit interesting too because of a bunch of minions that restore health to both players. Mistress of Mixtures for just 1 mana restores 8 health. Although in Wild, you could play the original quest for the Mara, right? So interesting there. Maybe this gets played in some sort of weird grindy Priest deck in Wild. Wretched Reclaimer, 3 mana, 3/3 Priest minion with the battlecry destroy a friendly minion, then return to life with full health. Definitely a card that we'll see play because it is a upgraded Terror Scale Stalker, right? This will activate a minion's death rattle like the Terror Scale, and it's more versatile because it's also going to heal that minion to full. So even if the minion had no death rattle but had a huge butt and low health, you could play this on something like Witchwood Grizzly to reset it. Very strong card for sure. Holy Ripple, 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all enemies, restore 1 health to all friendly characters. So we have half the Holy Nova for less than half the price. And seems like a good deal because it scales pretty well with spell power, right? Imagine you get Blood Mage Thalnos, and this you get actual Holy Nova for 1 mana cheaper. Seems pretty cool. This will help activate the quest as well. It's a very versatile card here, and we'll definitely see play. Embalming Ritual, 1 mana priest spell, give a minion reborn. So like the Wretched Reclaimer was the Terror Scale Stalker, here we have a very close play dead for priest. Obviously, I think play dead in this case is better than Embalming Ritual because it activates the death rattle immediately. This one sort of activates the death rattle on delay, right? So if you play this on something like Sylvanas, instead of you immediately stealing your opponent's minion, well, once your Sylvanas dies, it comes back, and so you can steal your opponent's minions again on delay. So I think the delay there does make a card like Play Dead better. So kind of funny here that now Priest is the one with both Play Dead and Terror Scale Stalker. Penance, 2 mana lifesteal spell, deal 3 damage to a minion. Wow, that is super efficient there, right? It's a deal 3, gain 3. Can't go face like a Dark Bomb, but I think this is better than Dark Bomb because you do want to be gaining life if you're control deck, and well, you might be activating your quest quicker with this lifesteal. Very strong card for sure. Sandhoof Waterbearer, 5 mana 5/5. At the end of your turn, restore 5 health to a damage-friendly character. Really like the design here because while it looks initially very strong, it might not find a home, right? Now, character can mean you, so if this is the only minion on the board, it's going to be a 5 mana 5/5, heal 5, which is great. It's possible it's not strong enough to be played in a Resurrect style deck over something like Witchwood Grizzly, and it's possible it's not, aggressive enough in a Zoo type deck as a 5 mana 5/5 over something like Fungal Mancer, even though Fungal Mancer is not there anymore. Maybe the better example is something like Zeliax or Wargear, right? So interesting card here, definitely strong. I'm definitely going to try it out in all sorts of control decks that don't rely on Resurrect. Bazaar Burgley is the rogue quest. It says add 4 cards from other classes to your hand. You reward Ancient Blades, which turns your hero power into equip a 3/2 blade with immune while attacking, the Mirage Blade. So I don't love the design here because this is kind of too easy to do, right? It doesn't say play 4 cards from other classes in your hand like you might expect. No, you just have to collect them. So with some of the rogue cards that already exist, some of the cards we're going to look at here, just a very easy quest to complete. It seems like Blizzard really, really wants us to play Burgle Rogue, and this is just too strong not to see a ton of play. I do believe it's a bit of a mistake in the sense that I think Burgle Rogue is meant to be really fun. I don't know if pushing it into the sort of competitive arena is what they really should have done with this. So I don't love the design at all. Shadow of Death, rogue spell, 4 mana, choose a minion, shuffle 3 shadows into your deck that summon a copy when drawn. So a very slow card here. This is one of the sort of fun cards that gets punished with the nerf to preparation, right? I think in a world where prep was still -3 on the cost, this sort of fun card might see more play. So what does this do? Well, shuffles 3 cards in your deck, minions, and then you get them for free when drawn. So you lose battle cries. You don't want good battle cries. You might play sort of bad battle cries. Cards like Hungry Eaton or cards like Witchwood Grizzly maybe fit the mold here. And death rattles, right? Because death rattles, are going to happen eventually. So interesting card here. Might be a fun one to try with something like Hemet in Wild. We can look at cards like Shade and Naxxramas, right? Because it comes down on turn 3 with stealth, and then maybe our opponent doesn't touch it. We Shadow of Death it, and then when we get the free Shade and Naxxramas later, they again have stealth. So definitely a card that it's going to be hard to get work, but might be a fun one to get to work, right? Something like Hemet to destroy our whole deck. Maybe Shade of Death on something like Ragnaros, right? Who knows? Sackett Sapper, 4 mana, 4/4, Death Rattle Pirate. Return a random enemy minion to your opponent's hand. So you get a free sap here on the Death Rattle. A little bit awkward because, well, 4 mana, 4/4 is not great. Well, I think what saves this card is exactly the Pirate tag. So it can come out for free with the legendary Hook Tusk. You play the Hook Tusk, you charge this or rush this into something, and then try to sort of aim the sap better because you're, rushing in a bunch of stuff. So definitely could see play in any deck running the Hook Tusk. Pharaoh Cat is a 1 mana 1/2 beast, not a 1/1. Ooh, so the battle cry is add a random reborn minion to your hand. Very strong card. Normally these web spinner type cards are 1 mana 1/1s. Someone just randomly is a 1/2, and I think that's very important because it just challenges stuff like Mekaru very well. So pretty strong card here, both because a lot of the reborn minions are very cheap. I think there's 4 that are under 2 mana. So if you have nothing going on, you play the Pharaoh's Cat, try to get a cheap one to, maybe waste your opponent's time without spending resources. And then later on the game, because your rogue can always use this as a combo enabler, pretty much the best card in rogue right now, Evil Miscreant, even after the nerf here, and this just helps you combo that out. Evil Disguise, 2-mana rogue spell. Add 2 random spells from another class to your hand. We mentioned the quest being really easy to complete, and this just makes it even easier because, well, as early as turn 3, you can have the quest done, which is pretty silly, right? Turn 1 quest, turn 2 Evil Disguise, turn 3 Evil Disguise. Maybe you coin out the weapon, kill something. So, and then you play 2 Vendettas, right? So yeah, they're making it too easy. The Burgle Rogue is a fun thing. They're making it too easy, and they're making it like a meta thing, which is a little bit scary, honestly. So obviously a card that's going to see play. Pilfer might be better because it costs 1 mana, but because the quest costs 1 mana now, maybe Pilfer is not better than this. Maybe just doubling up is just better, right? You just do it on turn 2. Normally you had what? Pilfer into the Angler. Here you have Quest into Disguise into, get the weapon out quick. So seems pretty good. Mogu Flesh Shaper, 7 mana, 3/4. That's not good, but it has Rush and costs 1 less for each minion on the battlefield. So it's never going to cost anywhere near 7 mana. Likely going to come down for 0 mana by the time you play it. And what do you do then? Well, you're going to try to evolve it. A lot of the evolve cards have less standard. Luckily, Shaman is one of the lackey classes, and the lackeys can provide you with the evolve effect. And that's possibly what's going to happen with this every time it gets played. I imagine this is a very strong Shaman card moving forward because the cards like Evil Totem can get out of control, and what better thing to do with your evolve than get 0 mana 8/8s. Totemic Surge, 0 mana. Give your totems +2 attack. We have a new take on Totemic Might, more of an aggressive card here, and because it's an aggressive take on it, it's just going to be a better card in general, I believe. And one of the big problems Shaman has always had is just filling their board up with totems and then getting kind of stuck. Where here, your totems are technically always a threat. This might see play a lot in Wild because a 0 mana spell is an even card, and because in Wild you're playing Gan a lot of times, and your totems cost 1 mana, making it easier to, well, get extra value out of this card, right? So also in Wild you have Totem Golem, which is a minion that's also a totem. Gotta imagine this sees play in Wild Shaman for sure. In Standard, I like that it costs 0. It's another way to combo with cards like Auctioneer, Fog Shaper, a lot of things to do with 0 mana spells. Spirit of the Frog is a very strong card in Shaman right now, and maybe this gets there to get more cards like Earth Shock, right? Sandstorm Elemental, 2 mana 2/2 Elemental with the battle cry, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. That's a strong battle cry, especially on a 2-drop. And this is pretty cool, right? It's no Ravaging Ghoul because a lot of times the Ravaging Ghoul was kind of better on turn 3 exactly as a 3/3. This one on turn 3, well, it's a 2/2. If on turn 2, this has less things to kill than the Ravager did on turn 3, right? So overall, though, it's kind of versatile because in the late game, you can play this for just 2 mana. It's worse than the Ravaging Ghoul because you're not Warrior and you don't have things that synergize with the Whirlwind effect. But in general, this is a pretty nice addition to Shaman's arsenal and a way to, just deal with annoying tokens and mechs. Dark Pharaoh Dakan is the Warlock Legendary. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with the battle cry. For the rest of the game, your lackeys are 4/4. That's strong. If you just have 1 lackey on turn 5 when you play this, it's almost a good deal. 5 mana 4/4 +3/+3, pretty good. If you had 2 lackeys out, obviously it's insane. If you didn't have any lackeys out, well, a little bit underwhelming for a zoo-style deck, to be sure. But any subsequent lackeys you do generate will be much better and much bigger torpedoes with something like Magic Carpet, right? So cool card here, and gonna try this in all sorts of decks for sure. Plague of Flames is the Warlock Plague. It's a 1 mana spell. Destroy all your minions. That's not good. But then it says for each one destroyed, destroy a random enemy minion. So this combos with Reform Scheme, or just 4 mana for a possible complete board clear, barring any Reborn and Death Rattle minions. That seems like a really good 2-card combo, and it gives you more reason to run more, go wide strategies. Egg style cards obviously synergize very well with this, right? You play the new egg along with the 1-drop egg, and you Plague of Flames in the early game. You kill their 2 minions, and well, you generate minions as your eggs die. So very strong card, powerful effect. Stupidly cheap price. Why does this cost 1 mana? That seems like a mistake in some sense. It's just too easy to combo this with cards like Reform Scheme, and it's just too cheap in general, I believe. Sinister Deal, 1 mana Warlock spell, discover a lackey. Lackeys are really good, and getting to discover, you know, the powerful evolve effect. Playing this on turn 2, you have no other play to try to get the one that summons a 2-drop. Could be a thing that happens because Evil Recruiter is a card. That's definitely something you might be looking to do, right? Turn 2, Sinister Deal, play the 1/1, summon a 2-drop. Maybe they deal with your 2-drop, and then whoops, your Evil Recruiter kills the lackey, and you get a 5/5. So definitely a card that sees play because of the huge synergies Warlock have with lackeys. Moving on to War, we have Live Wire Lance. Is a 3 mana, 2 attack, 2 durability weapon. That's not what you want out of your 3 mana weapon. It says after your hero attacks, however, you get a lackey to your hand. So if you attack twice with this, you get 2 lackeys. That's a pretty sweet deal because the lackey might make up for the fact that your weapon only did 2 damage, possibly. This bumps head a little bit with warrior strategy right now, namely the bomb strategy, right? At 3 mana, this you know, competes with the 3 mana 3/3 that puts a bomb in the deck, and because it's the weapon on turn 4, it competes with Wrench Caliber, which again puts a bomb in the deck. So if you're not trying to win with bombs, maybe you can have some fun with a Live Wire Lance. Very cool card, very sneaky strong card, probably a nice target to be upgraded. If you can upgrade this with the actual upgrade, it becomes a 3-attack weapon, which makes it more relevant, and well, you get an extra lackey at the end of the day, which could be very fun. Tomb Warden, 8 mana 3/6 mech taunt battlecry, summon a copy of this minion. So you get, for 8 mana, you get 2 3/6 taunts and their mechs. That's not a bad deal. But wait, if you just buff this once, it's kind of insane. 1 Armadillo activation, 1 Into the Fray activation, and you get 2 5/8 taunts and their mechs. So Dr. Boom synergy, here we go. Armadillo on turn 6, Dr. Boom on turn 7, Tomb Warden on turn 8. Get ready to see that that line of events very often, guys, and seems pretty good, right? Because the Armadillo probably does enough to stabilize a little bit. The 7 armor from Dr. Boom doesn't provide any tempo, but again, keeps you in the game. And then on turn 8, all the catching up is to be done as you play 2 huge 5/8 rush minion taunts. So yeah, when Armadillo was first revealed, I thought it might be at odds with the Dr. Boom strategy. A lot of the mechs they play, like Omega Devastator and Dynamatic, aren't taunts, so maybe it wouldn't fit in. But because they print this thing, it just all kind of fits together. The new 2-drop Frightened Frenzy or Frightened Flunky, just a very strong card that's going to go into every warrior deck because turn 1 Into the Fray works so well with a turn 2 Flunky for a tempo lead in a control deck. That's going to happen a lot. And because if you randomly had Tomb Warden in your hand anytime you play Into the Fray, you just get extra value there. So those 4 cards, Armadillo, Tomb Warden, Frightened Flunky, and Into the Fray even, I think all fit into a control warrior deck. And we're going to see a lot of that in the new standard environment. Armored Goon, 6 mana 6/7. We have an upgraded Boulder Fist Ogre here. Whenever your hero attacks, gain 5 armor. Shield Bearer used to be a 6 mana 5/5 that gained 5 armor that did see constructive play. Since then, the power level of cards has gone up immensely, and it's nice to see that this got boosted up from a 5/5 to a 6/7. Now you do need to attack to gain 5 armor, but because it's not a battlecry, this can be activated every turn if you attack every turn. Also, it can be activated all on the same turn with a weapon like Selthraze in standard, and in wild we have Fool's Bane, right? And that curves. Turn 5 Fool's Bane. Turn 6, Armored Goon, gain 20 armor. Okay. And you could coin out Selthraze. On turn 5, turn 6, play Armored Goon, and again, gain 20 armor if you attack, well, 4 minions. Now, you're going to obviously take damage when you attack 4 minions, but because you gained 20 armor, I have to imagine you're going to net some armor there in the process. So don't count this card out, this upgraded Boulder Fist Ogre. All right, so that concludes part 3 of my Saviors of Uldum set review. Hope you guys tune in tomorrow for the final review where we're going to go over all the neutral cards that I've yet to reveal. See you guys next time.